Now, the U.S. Democratic Congresswoman Rashida Tlaib says she will not visit her grandmother in the occupied West Bank, despite receiving permission from Israel. The Interior Minister says she would have been allowed in on humanitarian grounds if she'd agreed not to call for a boycott in Israel during her visit. However, Tlaib maintains she will not be silenced and treated like a criminal. Earlier, the Deputy Foreign Minister said she'd been banned after lobbying efforts by the U.S. President Donald Trump. Rosiland Jordan is our correspondent in Washington. So clearly for this Democratic Congresswoman, Ros, there are bigger moral questions at play here, rather that sort of take primacy above and beyond her relationship with her elderly grandmother.
Well, Peter, it's also important to point out that as part of this whole back and forth over whether Congresswoman Rashida Tlaib would get a visa to go to Israel and the occupied West Bank, when the decision was made to revoke her visa, she then wrote a letter to the Interior Ministry saying that she only wanted to go to the occupied West Bank to see her 90-year-old grandmother and other relatives, that it would be a humanitarian request. And in that request, she noted that she would not engage in political activities during her visit. Well, now she has decided not to make the trip. And on Twitter, she said, in part, what I'm about to read for our viewers: "Silencing me and treating me like a criminal is not what she," meaning her grandmother, "wants for me. It would kill a piece of me. I have decided that visiting my grandmother under these oppressive conditions stands against everything I believe in, fighting against racism, oppression, and injustice." So, of course, now that Congresswoman Tlaib has put out this statement saying that she's not going to travel to the occupied West Bank after all, has some accusing her of trying to sneak into the occupied West Bank in order to discuss politics and not just visit her family. There are others who are saying that the Israeli government never should have been in this position in the first place, that if it had made a decision a month ago to allow her and another congressperson, Ilhan Omar of Minnesota, to come to Israel and the occupied West Bank, that they should have stood by their decision and not caved to pressure from the Trump administration, including pressure directly from the U.S. President Donald Trump himself. So it's fair to say it's just after 10 a.m. here on the U.S. East Coast. It's fair to say, Peter, that this controversy is far from over.
Any reaction as of yet so far today, Ros, from Mr. Trump himself? I mean, he's had such a definite take on these two elected politicians and their attitude towards Israel. You know, his version of their attitude, his interpretation, I guess one should say, of their attitude towards Israel.
So far, not yet. He did make reference to this situation while he was traveling to the primary state of New Hampshire on Thursday evening. But so far, as of this morning, he has not spoken, but it's only been a few minutes. I haven't had a chance to look at his Twitter feed, which is how the president communicates with the public. He's not expected to be seen publicly on Friday. He is on holiday at one of his hotel properties in New Jersey. But so far, no reaction from him. But I wouldn't be surprised if he didn't have a reaction.
Rosiland Jordan, thank you very much. Ros Jordan, our correspondent there in Washington.